Hello. Okay, we are ready to get started. Thank you for joining us on our brand new YouTube channel. We are going to do lives over here and play back today. Okay, let's try again. Technical difficulty. It's playing back in my ear. Okay, brand new YouTube. Thanks for hanging with the challenges of something being brand new. We are going to be doing lives over here regularly, as well as recording shorter videos that are helpful for you on your fertility journey. This is our very first one. We're going to talk about the thyroid, the importance of the thyroid testing and tips. We're going to try to keep it to about 30 minutes. So thank you for coming over today. A little introduction to me for those who don't know me. I am Courtney Say. I'm a certified functional health practitioner and fertility specialist. I work with women and couples on achieving their dreams of a healthy pregnancy and bringing home a baby. And I've been through my own struggle. It was heartbreaking. I had a late second trimester miscarriage and secondary infertility for a number of years. So if this journey has been less than ideal for you, I totally get it. I've been there. And that's why I started my practice. So let's dive right in. Today we're going to talk about the thyroid. Some people have a lot of knowledge about the thyroid because you know you have a thyroid disorder, and some people have none. So the thyroid is a small butterfly-shaped gland. It's at the front of your neck where the scal's grabbing. It produces hormones, thyroid hormones that are used by every single cell in your body. So they use them for cellular energy. That includes your reproductive system. You have to have thyroid hormone and thyroid hormone at an appropriate level to control every cell in your body, including reproduction and fertility. So here's a list of a few other things that helps control heart, brain, bone, GI function, etc. So super important for everything. But with fertility, there are certain things that it's impacting directly. So we'll jump into that next after we go through the agenda. So today we're going to cover how the thyroid impacts fertility, what symptoms and red flags to watch out for, testing, traditional testing, why it's usually not enough, and the ranges are way too wide, and what we do instead from the functional perspective. And then why levothyroxine scripts, they're frequently written under the Synthroid brand, but there's a few others, why they're frequently not enough if you've got slow thyroid function going on. And then some tips on how to start improving your thyroid function today. So how the thyroid impacts fertility. There's a few things. First and foremost is ovulation. If you've got slow thyroid function, and by the way, we're going to be talking in here about slow thyroid function. I have not ever seen fast thyroid function or hyperthyroidism in my fertility clients. It's always been slow thyroid function, would be diagnosed by a doctor as hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's with immune system involvement. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. If you've got slow thyroid function, it can impair your ability to ovulate and increase your risk for ovarian cysts. So if you're not ovulating, you can't get pregnant. If your ovulation is weak, you can't get pregnant. If your ovulation is kind of okay and the egg is okay, but progesterone is low, you might get pregnant and then miscarry early. So that's the second thing. If you've got slow thyroid function, it's been associated with a higher risk for miscarriage. Typically, these are repeated early miscarriages. We see clients who either know they have a thyroid issue or didn't know but have symptoms of it that have suffered through 1, 2, 3 miscarriages. And we discover that there's some slow thyroid function going on that's contributing. And then for your man on the male fertility side, it's also super important because imbalanced or slow thyroid function for him can reduce semen volume, sperm density, morphology, and motility. So he needs to be concerned about this too and paying attention. Okay, here's a few of the most common signs I see of thyroid dysfunction in clients. The first one is fatigue. You're always feeling tired, like you cannot get enough rest. Related to this would be depression or feeling depressed occasionally. So just feeling like slowed down, depressed, and fatigued. The second is constipation. So when the thyroid function is slow, it slows gut motility, which is how food digests and moves through your gut. And when that's slowed down, it can cause constipation. Weight gain or trouble losing weight. So some people will put on weight, some people will be doing everything under God's green earth and not be able to lose weight. That's related to slow thyroid function too. And then always feeling cold, like she's wrapped up in a blanket, working from home, and you just can't warm up. You're under the space heater, under the blanket all the time. Those are very common signs of thyroid dysfunction. Okay, let's dive right into talking about testing for a few minutes. Traditional testing, when you go to the doctor, a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, my thyroid's fine. My doctor already looked at it, and they'll send me the lab, and it's TSH. And that's all their doctor ran. Sometimes they'll add T4, sometimes T3, which is helpful. But a lot of people come to me with just TSH, which tells us it's an important marker. It tells us how your pituitary gland is functioning, and that triggers the thyroid gland to make thyroid hormone. And it's super valuable, but it's only a part of the picture. And we need a full thyroid panel to be able to see what's actually going on with clients. So over here on the right, we've got what I look at on a full thyroid panel, which is TSH, free T4 and T3, which are the thyroid hormones produced by the thyroid gland, reverse T3, which kind of like is a bully to T3, and it can be problematic if it's too high. We want the thyroid hormones at an appropriate level. We don't want the reverse T3 to be too high. And then these antibody markers, I don't ever see run by physicians because they'll say we don't know what to do with it. And those are a marker of autoimmunity. I like to know if you've got autoimmune involvement. A lot of times there is autoimmune involvement here, and we want to see these antibody markers to see if and how elevated they are on the full panel. So what do these things tell us? I gave you a little bit on the last one, but TSH is produced by the pituitary gland and tells the thyroid to either increase or decrease T4 and T3. Free T4 is the unbound, so there's total T4 and free. We look at free on the lab I use. This is unbound hormone, which is available for conversion and cellular use. So we talked a few minutes ago about how every cell in the body needs the thyroid hormone to have cellular energy. This is the form of the hormone that's ready to go for being converted and used by the cells. Free T3, same thing, but it's T3. Reverse T3 opposes T3, so it slows metabolism down, and we don't want too much of that. TPO and TBG are immune system antibodies that attack the thyroid. So we don't want to see much of any of those going on, or we'll know that there's some autoimmune or immune system. You can think of it as like inflation of the immune system involvement going on with the slow thyroid function. Okay, so the other thing to know about testing is lab ranges. This is super important. Some, like I said, most physicians will just look at TSH. Some will dig deeper into the T4 and T3. The lab ranges with traditional labs are incredibly wide. So I've got some examples here. This is a case study of a current client. If you look at her labs, which her numbers are in here, and if you look at them from standard lab range, you're generally going to say, yeah, all looks good. You're fine. Go about your business. But when we look at it from a functional range, we can spot slow thyroid function as well as what we call conversion issues. So slow thyroid function is because we've got TSH over 2. Anytime I see it over 2, that we want to bring it back down. That's too high. Free T4, there's not enough of the T4 hormone in her body, and there's also not enough T3. And so the conversion happens primarily in the liver, some in the gut, but we want to look to the liver, supporting the liver when we see that T4 converting to T3 is not, there's not enough. So you're still low on T3. She's also got high reverse T3, which is pushing down further on the T3. And then she's got one antibody marker that's high. So this tells me there's some immune system involvement. We don't diagnose disease in my practice, but this would make me think that Hashimoto's is probably likely here. Okay, so that's testing, right? We know why the thyroid is important to fertility now. You know what symptoms in the body to watch out for. You know why tests are frequently inadequate. And if you're running them with somebody other than me, please request a full thyroid panel and make sure they're looking at it from a functional range. Super important. I've seen people that are between 2 and 3 on TSH with low T3 or T4, and they feel like absolute garbage when traditional labs would tell them everything is great. And it's impacting their fertility is the most important thing here. So let's jump into how do you support your thyroid, because these are some things you can start doing today on your own. I work with clients on them once we get their full thyroid panel back, and then I'll give you some tips on talking to your physician if you are on a medication or need to go that route. So you want to eat really nutrient dense foods. We've got some listed here that are great options. Raw cacao, organ meats, which are hard for a lot of people to eat, but there's great supplements out there. Grass-fed butter, seafood and fish, herbs and spices. So notably not on this list are grains and legumes. They are not nutrient dense, and they contain what are called anti-nutrients, and you can think of them as nutrient bullies, kind of like the reverse T3. They can interfere with absorption of nutrients. So we don't want that. We don't want too many anti-nutrients and low nutrient density food. Unfortunately, a lot of people get a lot of their daily caloric intake from grains. So you want to focus on more nutrient dense foods. The other thing of note here is that it can be incredibly challenging for vegans and vegetarians to meet their daily nutrient intake without eating a ton of grains and legumes, which are not nutrient dense. So we get into a bit of a circular problem there with vegans and vegetarians. And in my practice, I have found that you gotta add these nutrient-dense animal products back into your diet to get back in check. So that's some things you can start with on the diet side today. Feel free to take a screenshot of this and start grabbing some of those things at the store to add them in. And then what not to do is like try to limit or eliminate the grains and legumes. They're not helping you get the nutrients that the thyroid needs to perform its function adequately. So, okay. So organ meat. Again, some people can eat it. If you can, that's amazing. I don't like eating it, and most of my clients don't either. So this is a reputable grass-fed brand that's a great option by Paleo Valley. And it contains vitamin A, CoQ10, which is helpful for cellular health, and B vitamins, which aren't on the list, but it's a complete B vitamin supplement through the natural organ meat that's in there. And then it's got a bunch of minerals too, like iron, selenium, zinc, phosphorus, and then it's got folate, EPA, and DHA. One thing I want to point out is that some people have started to try to take just organ meat as a prenatal. It's not enough. It's not enough if you are pregnant or as you're prenatal, but this is a great option to support the thyroid with a nutrient-dense supplement. So there's this one, and then if you can't find this one, another grass-fed organ meat complex is a great option to add into your diet. Okay, so we also want to eliminate major dietary toxins. So we just talked about what to add in. A supplement you can go grab that is helpful to get a lot of those nutrients and minerals that your body needs, your thyroid needs to function. What do you need to take out so that it's not counteracting the work you're doing? So gluten. It can't be completely digested. It's a major source of inflammation, It promotes leaky gut, which allows things to leak out of the gut and cause systemic problems like thyroid dysfunction. And it is the most common trigger for thyroid autoimmunity. So if we want to dig into the numbers on this, like 90% plus of cases of slow thyroid function have some autoimmunity involved, and gluten is involved in almost all of those autoimmunity cases. So makes sense to completely eliminate this from your diet. It can be hard for people to wrap their heads around, and we get all up in like, I can't do it, that's rough. It's not as hard as it seems, but it does have to be all or nothing, because one exposure to gluten will trigger the immune system for up to 90 days. So like you stay away from it and then you're like, but I wanted a piece of that cake, and you eat the cake, it can inflame your immune system for up to 3 months. So it's got to be all or nothing to calm the immune system. So that's one thing with thyroid issues that I tell clients to cut out of their diet to help calm the immune system and help their endocrine system downstream, right? Because everybody's here to get pregnant. Like that's the goal. This is a helpful one. The other one is eating organic wherever possible. And if you can't afford to eat fully organic, look at like the dirty dozen list and stay away from those that are the worst offenders. But many herbicides and pesticides can disrupt your hormonal system and your gut bacteria. So they've done some studies on glyphosate. This is sprayed on many non-organic crops. And it's been shown that one exposure can dissolve the tight junctions of the mucosal barrier, which is the lining of your gut, by up to 60% one time, which is freaking nuts. So if that's not enough to try to stay away from conventionally grown produce, I don't know what is. And then if you've got gluten plus these pesticides, it's extremely disruptive to the gut. So anyway, long story short, with anyone who's got thyroid issues going on, these are the two things I recommend diet-wise. Beyond what you want to add in with nutrient density, you want to ditch the gluten. You want to ditch the conventionally grown foods. Okay, and this is a big topic that we'll dive into a few things you can start to do today, but we spend a lot of time in my program working with clients on stabilizing blood sugar because it's multifaceted lifestyle changes. But blood sugar dysregulation and insulin resistance can wreak havoc on your thyroid function. It can trigger all kinds of autoimmunity, and it weakens the endocrine system. So it is pulling down on the endocrine system when we want to be supporting it and getting it to an optimal function level so that you can get pregnant. So what can you do on your own to get started? Consider using a continuous blood sugar monitor for 30 days. This is showing a picture of one. This is not a continuous blood sugar glucose monitor, but this is one of the older ones where you do a finger prick and then check it. They have awesome ones now where you just stick them on your arm and it stays there for 30 days and it continually syncs your blood sugar changes to an app. I have a company I like working with that I send to my clients, but you can go find this on your own too if you're not working with a practitioner. And I would wear it for 30 to 60 days and take the information that you're getting back from that and make changes to your lifestyle so that you can help stabilize your blood sugar. Here's a couple of other things you can do with or without a continuous glucose monitor. Eat 100 grams of high quality protein daily. And I'm not talking about getting it from, grains and legumes or beans. You want to get 30 grams with breakfast to start your day off right. You want to get 30 grams with each meal thereafter. And then what I call no naked carbs. So you don't want to eat any carbs during the day that don't have protein alongside them. And when we think of carbs, a lot of us think of like a piece of bread or pasta, something along those lines, processed food. But this is fruits and vegetables too. So don't eat a salad without some protein with it. Don't grab an apple when you're hungry in the afternoon without grabbing some peanut butter or a slice of cheese to go with it. And with the snacks, you want to keep them to 10 grams of protein or more to help stabilize your blood sugar. After you eat a meal, if you can go for a 10-minute walk, that will also help stabilize your blood sugar. And I know that we're at a time of year where a lot of the country is freezing. So walk around your house for a few minutes, turn on a song you love and dance to it in your living room, change a load of laundry and stand up and fold it. Just get up and move for 10 minutes after you eat. That will help stabilize your blood sugar. Some other things that are bigger topics that we have time for today that we work on in my program is sleep hygiene, gentle movement, and stress management. So make sure you're getting good quality sleep at night, not just quantity, that you're doing some gentle movement. The walks that we talked about is a good start. And then stress management. We work on journaling, prayer, meditation, yoga, things like that. Because you can't eliminate stress fully from your life, but you can work on things that bring your body back into homeostasis and out of fight or flight, and help support your blood sugar. Okay, so supplements. We mentioned the complex earlier on the organ meat complex. If you try that along with an ashwagandha, that can be helpful for mild dysfunction. And we use that when we're just a little bit out of range. The case study we had before was I would call it mild dysfunction. In my practice, we use glandulars when the above is not enough. Now, I don't recommend DIYing these because you've got to keep testing and watching it, as well as adjusting the dose until it gets to a right level. I like Thyroid Gold, and there's some others, but again, I would recommend working with a practitioner on glandulars. Okay, this I get asked about a lot because I know people in my community and clients are on medication, and almost everyone that's prescribed meds is given Synthroid or another form of levothyroxine. There's some different names for it, but Synthroid is the most common. So if you need prescription support, which would be like the level up from glandulars, if that's not enough, plus the dietary things and the elimination things we talked about aren't enough, and you work with your doctor to get a prescription, I always say to ask for WP thyroid first. It's a complete spectrum of thyroid hormones. It's got T3 and T4 in it. And it's free of all the junk that Synthroid and some of the others have, like allergens and fillers. If your doctor can't or won't prescribe WP thyroid, Nature Thyroid and Armor are also preferred over levothyroxine products. And this little chart over here to the left just gives you kind of a view of why, right? Synthroid and other levothyroxine products have only T4 in them. So earlier when we were looking at the case study and I told you that some people will not do well with just synthetic T4 or Synthroid, it's because it only has T4 and it doesn't have T3. So if you have a conversion issue going on, if your body is unable to convert T4 to T3, it's not going to be enough. You're going to see TSH and T4 come back into range and still have symptoms. And if your doctor's only looking at TSH and T4 or your practitioner, you're not going to know what's going on. So it's a conversion issue, and we see it all the time. Armor, again, would be like the third preference here because it does have both in it. Nature Thyroid also is got a lot less junk, if you will, added to it, and there's no recalls. And then WP Thyroid's the quote unquote cleanest. I don't know, cleanest, purest is probably a better word for it. There haven't been any FDA recalls. There's only 2 inactive ingredients, and it's free of junk too. So that's the preference. And then down the list, if you want to screenshot this, if you're on meds, if you're on Synthroid and you're like, it's not working, that makes perfect sense. Talk to your doctor about trying one of these others. Okay, so a lot of information. There's some things you can do now on your own, right? You can add those nutrient-dense foods to your diet. You can start taking an organ meat complex. You can eliminate gluten and eliminate, where possible, or buy more organic produce. And you can start these things on your own today. But if you want more support with this and the rest of your fertility journey, I do work with clients one-on-one. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program and method for a couple of minutes here. So when I work with clients one-on-one, we do a 6-month program that is soup to nuts, improve your fertility and, take back your power so you can get and stay pregnant. Even if you've been through multiple rounds of IUI and IVF and it's failed, you've been trying for 3 or 4 years, this program identifies underlying root causes of what's going on in your body. Thyroid is just one component of this. And then we work through customized protocols with hand-in-hand support, if you will, virtual hand-in-hand support so that you can get and stay pregnant. The practice is 100% virtual. So I work with clients all over the place, primarily in the US, but if you're not in the US, let me know where you are so I can make sure we can get tests to you, test kits to you. And we start with functional labs. I'll go through and show you what the lab tests are that we run, but infertility and fertility problems are a multi-system issue. When you go through testing with an OBGYN, a fertility doctor, they are looking at your reproductive system in isolation for the most part. Some of them look at a couple other tests, but they're primarily focused on, are you ovulating? Are your tubes open? The semen analysis. But in reality, infertility is a multi-system problem. If you've got issues in the gut, in the thyroid, micronutrient and mineral levels, if you've got HPA axis dysfunction going on, your neurotransmitters are out of whack, you're going to have challenges with your fertility. And you're not having that looked at on the traditional side. So we dig deep, we do a full panel of functional labs. We build customized protocols, and we work with you one-on-one to go back and forth. So there's lifestyle changes in there. Some things like we just talked about here could be involved depending on what's going on with you, as well as supplement protocols. And we have live meetings, and then we do messaging all the time back and forth in our app to support you on lifestyle factors, and then have unlimited email support too, so that you can get to the end of this and get and stay pregnant. So just a couple more details on the program. The labs that we run with our fertility clients are GI map. This is looking at your gut function. We find all kinds of things in there, like signs of liver congestion, gut dysbiosis, inflammation, you name it, that are impacting fertility. We do a Dutch, which is a really deep stress and hormone profile, look at your HPA axis, neurotransmitters, and how your body is not only producing estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone, but its metabolites and how it is detoxifying or methylating these hormones. We run a full thyroid panel, like we just went through in detail, and then an MTHFR mutation test to see if you have any mutations on that gene. This is kind of how the program looks. So when clients come in, we do an onboarding call. We immediately get to work on their diet and lifestyle and drainage, making sure their body is able to drain appropriately, which is a precursor step to any detox protocols that are done later, or elimination protocols. We work on that for a couple of months. And as soon as we get your micronutrient test back, we start working on, excuse me, balancing minerals and micronutrients. This helps clients feel better. Like, this is one of the biggest bangs for your bucks as far as how you feel quickly, and it gets you ready for the tougher protocols, which are the gut protocols. Depending on what we find on your GI map, I've never seen one that's clean. Everyone has some things to work on. We do those protocols after we've ensured that your body is draining appropriately. We've pumped you up, if you will, like supported your cellular health with nutrients and minerals. Then we'll do your gut protocols. And that takes us towards the end of the program, where we start to make sure that you're in a good place to get and stay pregnant. I've started working with a vendor that has a fertility tracker called Mira, and I am encouraging clients to grab the Mira. It's like a pod, and it has tests that are way better than ovulation predictors to predict when you're fertile with amazing accuracy. So anyway, I'm encouraging clients to grab that around the 5th month when they're wrapping things up, so that they can get and stay pregnant in month 6 or the couple months right after that. So that's how the program is structured and the methodology. And if you would like more information, if you want to talk more about it, I do consults, one-on-one consults for 30 minutes. I'll try to post the link on YouTube after we're done here. Also over on Instagram, I'm at Fertility Functionally, and there's a link in my bio where you can schedule a 30-minute phone call and we can see if we're a mutual good fit to work together. And you can email me. My email's up there, or you can DM me over on Instagram, or you can comment here on the YouTube. So thanks for coming to our first live on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the Thyroid Masterclass. A lot more to come. Have a great rest of your day.